We've done a little bit of talking about Luka and the Mavs, and I think that he, for a long time, has been the answer to this question. But I'm interested to see if that has changed. Logan, we'll start with you. If you were to start an NBA franchise with one player, who would that guy be?
For the 8th year running, I will be selecting Karl Anthony Towns as my franchise building block.
Good choice. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting on it. It's all going to come together. It's going to formulate. I don't know if this is the cop-out answer. I feel like this is probably the new wave number one. I'm taking Wemby. I'm going to take Wemby as my franchise building block. There are other guys that I would consider. Luka is on that short list. SGA is on that short list wholeheartedly. Like you say, fringe top 5. I'm ready to just say top 5 with SGA. Ooh. Man, he is unreal.
Can we have a quick conversation? I want to know which of these
Jokic,
names you're leaving out. Okay,
Giannis,
go for it.
SGA.
SGA above Luka, question mark?
Are we going fully healthy?
Yeah.
Probably Luka, SGA, Embiid.
Okay.
Something like that.
Mean,
it's so
I don't think that's egregious.
So freaking talented, man.
If I can push back, healthy Kawhi to me in a playoff environment
I just can't,
still there.
I would. I mean, healthy Kawhi, but it's like healthy Kawhi. You know, we have to put that. We have to preface it, you know.
And Steph. It's still tough for me to leave Steph out of there.
Damn. Yeah, actually.
That's why you go with the fringe. Go with the fringe.
I'm sorry.
It gives you more margin.
He's 6. SGA's 6. I can't put him above Steph. Steph's still him. It's close. So SGA would be on my short list. Luka, Anthony Edwards. I think Ant is going to reach this top 3 or maybe best player in the league. I'm so confident, Ant. But, I mean, what Wemby is doing right now, and you can just see how easily everything is going to come to him. I expect Wemby to be so well-rounded that you just don't have a counter for him. Like, I think he's going to, defensively, I think his frame is going to fill out, and I think he is going to be a stout, fluid 7'4". And I'm not talking rocked up, but thicker, you know, where he's not getting moved around by big guys. And he's going to be so long that his size is just overwhelming defensively, and he's not just going to get moved around. And then offensively, you see everything. The lob catching, how easy it is for him around the rim, how long he is to get to all these different spots. The shooting stroke, the skill with the ball handling, and now that you're seeing the playmaking with the basketball IQ, like he is the total freaking package with these overwhelming physical attributes. I just see a player that is not going to have any holes in his game where we can throw 2 or 3 guys at him and try to lock up his scoring. And then he's going to be an elite playmaker, and he's going to be setting up his teammates. Like, I so easily can see Wemby being the best player in all of the NBA. And even if he's not, he is still going to be one of the best defenders on the planet and one of the most efficient offensive players on the planet. That's enough for me to buy in right now. Number 2 for me probably would be Anthony Edwards, but I'm going to take Wemby number 1.
Whoa. Ant over Luka for you.
It's close. Luka would be 3, SGA 4. Ant's going to be him, man. I think so.
All right, Matt, who would you build around?
I would take Wemby. I mean, I think you have basically 2 options, right? Maybe 3. You can take Jokic, who is the current best player in the world and young enough so where it's like, okay, like I can still get some work done. You can take Luka, who isn't the best player in the world. I don't think he's better than Jokic, but like he's pretty darn close. Very obviously can be the best player on a championship team. There isn't any question about it. And he's pretty young. Or you can really swing for the fences and say Victor Wembanyama, right, who's incredibly young. But he could go down as, you know, I don't think this is any stretch. Like, he could go down as the best player ever. He absolutely could. He's that level. Or he could at least have one of the highest peaks ever. I don't think there's any question that that's within the realm of possibility. For me, what I've seen from Wemby this year, the way that he's developed, the level he's been at on defense, and what his offensive game is turning into, I don't have the guts to bet against that, so I'd go Victor Wembanyama. I mean, if I told you right now that Vegas was making a line for Wembanyama, is he going to win multiple Defensive Players of the Year? You figure that yes would be. You'd say yes would be ridiculous minus money, right?
Minus
like,
700.
The question is like, is this guy going to be the best defensive player of all time? That's the big question with him. And the offensive game too, I agree. It's like, well, it looks like he's developing every aspect a pretty serious amount. The shot's looking a little bit better. He's good off the ball. He's good on the ball. He's attacking in these different ways. And like, yeah, he needs to get a little bit stronger. And like, yeah, he's still just a rookie. But there's a world where he is a defensive player like we have never seen before, and that nobody has ever been able to like come close to even theoretically matching. And on offense, he's a super skilled 7'4" player with a well-rounded game. Like, dude. And I just do think that's going to happen. I do think it's going to turn out that way. Maybe there's some risk of like, can he stay healthy for super long? And I think that would honestly be maybe the best argument against it, is like, he's really slight. Maybe his frame never builds up. Luka and Jokic, are particularly healthy players in a particularly unhealthy era. And maybe that should be something that you value more. But I'm going to go with Victor Wembanyama.
I think the health is a good point. And it's not to me like, oh my God, there's this historical precedent of guys who are 7'3 plus. They always get hurt. A, I think we're in a different era in terms of medicine. And B, I've never seen a dude who is so proactive about taking these preventative measures and making sure that he is absurdly flexible, like doing everything he can to protect his body like Wemby does. And he's been really healthy this year. Like, even his little ankle thing where he was on the minutes restriction for a while, I mean, he was dropping 25 points in 20 minutes. He looked great. They're just being careful because he's their franchise cornerstone, and they don't have any reason to push him because they're not a serious basketball team. It is Wemby for me now. And every year that I can remember having this conversation, like on our show, Logan, since for sure Luka's second season in the league, he's been like an easy answer for me. You make a good point, Matt, about like Jokic just clearly being the best player in the league. But to me, does that outweigh having 9 more years of Victor Wembanyama?
No, it doesn't. I'm just saying, I guess I could see the case for that. Maybe some teams might pick Jokic depending on like where they are, but yeah, I can too,
dude. Yeah, because I remember.
You guys give Giannis at all too?
I mean, he's just not better than Jokic.
Yeah, I don't think I would, to be real with you. I mean, he's great. I think he could win another title. I think if you were building a team around him, that'd probably be pretty cool. That wouldn't be so bad.
No, it wouldn't.
But I think Jokic has a game that probably is going to age a little bit better, and I think he's better right now, and it's tough for me to pick against that.
Agreed on all counts. And I just don't see like the path to Giannis really getting better at this point. I think that we've seen kind of stagnation in the playmaking. I think that we've seen there's just nothing there in terms of skilled touch shot making, and that's not going to develop at 30 for him. So between those two, I think it has to be Jokic. But like, I do see the case for Jokic, because I remember I was taking like 32-year-old LeBron in this question.
Yeah, man.
7 years ago. I was like, he's so much better than everybody else. I would just rather have LeBron. But that probably wasn't the right position. That was probably a bit short-sighted. I would have rather taken a full career of a Giannis or a Jokic starting from that point versus what we get of the last, 7 years of LeBron, as incredible as they've been. But I think it comes down to what you laid out, Matt. This guy has clear potential to be the defensive GOAT, and he has the clear potential to pair that with an offensive superstar skill set. Like, I just want us all to think for a moment about how valuable a regular season player, a Rudy Gobert, has been, because defensively, he's going to make you a top 5 unit on that side of the ball, really regardless of who you put around him. Then think about making that guy 3 inches taller, giving him a wingspan that's a few inches longer, making him significantly more agile in space. And it's like that dude is going to propel you to elite defense every single year and is going to hold up better defensively in those playoff environments, even though I think Rudy can get a little bit of excessive criticism for that. And Rudy has made his all-star appearances on the back of that while being really inept offensively. Wemby is, again, a more imposing athlete, a bigger target around the rim, while also having, like, arguably wing fluidity when you're talking about ball handling and pull-up shooting and this playmaking that is already so impressive. He just has the ability to surpass Luka in terms of the number of ways that he can dominate the game. I think Luka's off to as great an offensive start to a career as we have ever seen. And I don't want to undersell that because it is insane what he has done every single year, elevating the guys around him. But at the end of the day, he is still a guy who you have to play a certain style of basketball with, and he is going to be quite ball dominant. And I think there's little adjustments he has to make in terms of playing away from the ball to like absolutely maximize his value. He's still probably a top 3 player on the planet, but if we're talking about like him reaching that GOAT tier kind of conversation, but he's never going to be able to have a significant positive impact defensively. Whereas Wemby, I mean, is going to be the perfect defensive player. And then offensively is going to be able to fit seamlessly alongside anyone. Like, who is the star who I could say you're pairing Wemby with and it wouldn't work? Like, you wouldn't pair him with a 5 long term, but even if you did, like Wemby at the 4 would it would work. Like, he has that level of insane versatility. And if you pair him with a lead guard, what he's been doing for the last 2.5 months now, since he moved to center, per 75 possessions, he's averaging 27, 13, and 5 with 6 stocks per game on better than league average true shooting. He's doing that with the Trey Jones show, right? No other high-level offensive threats on his team as a rookie, bro. Knowing that he's going to shoot the ball better, although he has been quite good as of late, but like more stuff is coming in terms of perimeter skill. We're seeing him run pick and roll, and it's like, oh man, he shoots 42% on pull-up threes, and he can also play make over the top of these coverages if you hedge. What are you going to do with that guy? Like, it's hard to conceive of how great I think he's going to be in this league, and that is nothing about Luka. I legitimately couldn't have imagined that a player this great would come into the league and knock Luka off of that pedestal, because it's like every step of the way, oh, he's arguably the greatest second-year player ever offensively, and through 6 years, he's been as great offensively as anybody we've ever seen. But we're just looking at a different beast here. We're looking at a one-of-a-kind guy.
Yeah, I mean, that point about the Rudy Gobert defense stuff, it's like, you know, the Wembanyama defense alone is probably going to end up being a Hall of Famer. Rudy Gobert is a Hall of Famer based just off the defense, and we're arguing that Wemby maybe could be better than that, and the whole, you know, offensive game. I'm totally bought into Wemby. I have no doubts about it outside of maybe the health does get to him, but I'm looking at a guy who's got the potential to be the best ever. I am, and I'm taking that.
Carson, that might be the best succinct sentence that I've heard on Wemby. I also cannot conceive of how good he's going to be. Of all the things that he's going to do so well, because we've never seen it. Wemby's one of a kind, bro. He's legitimately one of a kind, bro. Well said, man.
It's impossible. Like, I watch him do stuff every night. And by the way, I watch Luka do stuff every night too, where I'm like, what the hell? How did he throw that lob from that angle? How did he throw that skip pass? How did he make that shot? Like, the touch, the playmaking, it's unbelievable. But what's so terrifying about Wemby is he's doing these things I can't conceive of, and some of it is just, a lot of it is just raw gifts. Literally just catching a lob nobody else on the planet could. Blocking a shot nobody else on the planet could. Like, Luka has had to perfect these aspects of his game to do these jaw-dropping things. Wemby came into the league with advantages that nobody else can match just because that's what he was born with, dude. And obviously the skill is crazy, but
the defensive range he has is just, no one's even come remotely close to it. No one's even come like 70% of the way there. It's just a completely different animal. It's really crazy. So yeah, I'd go with it.
It is. And he's gotten so much better in 4 months of his rookie year.
And that's the other thing. It's like maybe the one thing that would scare you about those gifts is like, well, if he didn't develop, and development's not linear, but like, man, it's looked pretty linear so far. It's looked pretty darn good so far.
It's insane. It's one of the craziest, if not the craziest, within a year leap that I can think of seeing from a rookie. We've been talking Wemby a lot recently, but my God, dude, he just boggles my mind. I bet all the Celtics fans are upset that we didn't take Jason Tatum. That discourse has been cracking me up as of late.
He's 19. He's 19. How did we not take Tatum?
Dude, the Tatum is simultaneously the best player on the planet, but we also want you to acknowledge that Jalen, Kristaps, Drew, and Derek White are all all-stars. It's like, all right, congratulations on winning 76 games this year, Boston. Like, I'm not sure all those things can be true simultaneously.
But they're not a super team.
That's what I'm saying. They're not a super team. They're not a super team.
seen a lot of talk about that. I don't know.
Yeah, it amuses me. We don't need to talk about Tatum right now. I do think he gets elevated a bit into some conversations that he doesn't belong in because the team is so great. And I think the Celtics are great. It's just like Tatum being the best player on the best regular season team doesn't mean that he's Nikola Jokic, you know.